Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians, guests, friends on Zoom. We are excited to welcome you to the Rotary Club of Cincinnati's third meeting in January of 2022. Thank you for modifying your schedule to be with us virtually, and we are looking forward to be able to offer in-person meetings again beginning next week. We will begin our program today with the National Anthem, followed by the invocation and four-way test, which will be led by Bill Stilley.
Good morning and welcome to Rotary Club 17. Please join me in prayer. God our Father, we thank you that you have given us one more day to serve here at Rotary. We thank you for our Club 17 and all the wonderful things that have come from this club over many, many years. We thank you for the officers who work diligently to continue our service above self. We ask that you give them wisdom as they carry out their duties. We thank you for all of the Rotarians who volunteer and serve, and we ask for strength to continue our work. Father, we ask that your hand be on those who are suffering today with sickness, illness, emotional stress, and we ask that you would comfort those who are mourning. This afternoon, we thank you that Sherry Hughes is here with us to speak. We thank you for her healing from cancer, and we thank you for the Cincinnati Cancer Advisors and how they serve. We ask that you would bless Sherry as she brings blessings to so many others in this new adventure. Amen. And now if you would join me in saying the things that we say and do as Rotarians. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? You may be seated, even at home.
Thank you very much, Bill. Kelly Collison, Executive Director of Magnified Giving.
Thanks, President Melinda. Welcome. Hello. It's odd to be in this room with just 4 or 5 people, but I know that there are many of you out there that wish you could be in this room, and we will once again be together next week. So I am Kelly Collison, and I am proud to represent our Club 17 Corporate Member Roundtable. My day job, as Melinda referenced, is I'm the Executive Director of Magnified Giving, a youth education philanthropy nonprofit in our beautiful community. Magnified Giving is one of 21 corporate members in our club. And check out the slide and see the other wonderful, dedicated corporate members. And did you know that any corporate member can be a part of the Corporate Member Roundtable? I personally am a member of the Roundtable, and I enjoy it very much. As a new Rotarian, as of March of 2021, I joined as a corporate member and immediately joined the Roundtable. We now have 8 corporate members at the Roundtable, and we would love to have more join us to help continue to bring meaningful corporate Roundtable discussions to help you make informed business decisions, meet amazing guest speakers, and be exposed to the behind-the-scenes conversations happening in our wonderful community. You see, the whole purpose of the Corporate Member Roundtable is to provide an exchange of ideas that benefit corporate members as they lead their organizations with the primary focus of service. I'd like to share with you that I thoroughly enjoy working with the Roundtable team members while we work together in planning our next business forums and panel discussions for all of you. We meet on lively Zoom calls that are convenient, and we have great planning sessions. We work in tandem to make decisions so that we can have a wonderful presentation for you. And the 2 presentations that I've been a part of since I've joined were the Moving Forward, Leadership Through COVID-19 and Beyond conversation. And then this past November, the panel Staying Alive, Solutions for Attracting, Hiring, and Retaining Talent. We are currently planning our April forum with the theme of navigating all things travel. You won't want to miss it, and I know we all want to get back to easy and safe travels and hope that people will travel to our great city as well. We will announce the April meeting details very soon. If you'd like to know more about our corporate membership or our corporate member roundtable in particular, you can contact 3 fabulous past presidents, Brett LaBar, Dave Carlin, Jack Scott, or any of the corporate member roundtable members. Thank you for listening to my excitement about the corporate member roundtable. Make it a great day for yourself and others, and hoo day!
Thank you very much, Kelly. We really appreciate that announcement, and we are very happy to have our corporate member roundtable with us. They do exciting things in the community and collaborate very well together. So thank you. Some additional announcements that we have. We have several members celebrating birthdays this week. January 25th, Brad Glazer. 26th, well, passed already, but the 26th, John Daughtery. 27th, Tim Markagi, and January 28th, Paul Carilla. Let's give them a round of applause and wish them a happy birthday. Also behind the scenes, as I've mentioned to you the previous weeks, we have many members and committees working. One is the Professional Development Series. We have 3 upcoming professional development classes over the next 3 months. They will occur on the Thursday right before our Rotary meeting. They will begin at 10:30 a.m. If you would like to sign up for any of these classes that I'm going to tell you about in just a minute, please feel free to contact the Rotary office at office@cincinnati-rotary.org, or check your E-Raise. In the E-Raise, there will be a link there to the Professional Development Series, and Christy and Sarah in the office will be very glad to put you on the list for one of them or all of them if you sign up. And they are February 17th, Social Media 101. Social Media 101 with Aaron Folke, and Aaron will be assisted by Kim Elliott. In March 10th, Using a Podcast to Promote and Develop Your Business by Rotarian Sam Schutte. In April 7th, the series will present The Art of Feedback and Managing Difficult Conversations by Brent Seelmeyer. Those are some interesting topics, and I'm looking forward to them and hope many of you are as well, so make sure you sign up. Special thanks to Larry Cunningham on the board, who oversees the Professional Development Series, and Russell Smith, who is the Professional Development Series chairperson. There's a new date you may have seen from an email sent to you by Dr. Hux Miller about our hands-on service project at Matthew 25 Ministries. It will now be Saturday, February 26th from 9 to 11. The February 5th date was postponed due to COVID. So if you're interested in the Matthew 25 Ministry Hands-on Service Project, please feel free to contact Chairperson Hux Miller, and also you can contact the office. And Hux's email address is huxmiller@gmail.com. Along with that, the Hands-on Service Committee is still running the Hawksworth Center Blood Drive, so there are still some more days left in January for you to be able to donate. Make sure you give them the information from our club so that they can record. So far, I think we've had about 14 members to donate. That is great. And thank you also to others of you who have given to the tornado relief efforts. We're continuing to do that. Whether you contribute through District 6670, our Rotary District, or individually. We will begin hosting again our next in-person meetings beginning February 3rd. We're looking forward to that. We really miss being together, but safety is our top priority, and that's how we've been operating the last 3 weeks. I want to thank each of you personally for your flexibility, your patience, and your understanding as we've had to shift. We appreciate your transparency. Those of you who've contacted me, please know I'm keeping you and your families in our thoughts and prayers for me individually and for the club. You don't need to feel compelled to come to a meeting, even though we will be meeting in person. That will be your choice. You will still be able to join us via Zoom. Zoom will be continuing at least through June 30th, I know for sure, and I think President-elect Steve will continue the Zoom meetings as well. So we appreciate you joining through Zoom. Next week, our meeting speaker will be Marcus Margerum, Deputy Director and Chief Business Officer of the Contemporary Arts Center. We have one more announcement for you that will be an update by Bill Stilley, who came to you before. Followed by Bill will be our AAA corporate member, Cheryl Parker, who will introduce today's program. Bill?
As President Melinda has been giving updates on the activities of our club, I'd like to bring you some updates from the hands-on committee. In particular, the environmental sustainability project that our club adopted during President Brett's reign. And we voted as a club on this to support the Cincinnati Public Schools. This is our club's big project. And we have partnered with Green Umbrella and Imago with their recommendations for some foundational logistics. And really, Imago has really done a great job there and basically setting up what we're doing. And we've done, you'll hear a lot more about this in a month, but Rotary's really done a terrific job. Deborah Schultz headed up the research committee to find out what the club project would be. But the implementation committee is headed up by Jody DeVoyd, and Jody has really done a fabulous job. Jody, if you're at home, stand up, and we all applaud you. What a great job you've done. Again, the project was conceptualized during President Brett's year, and we started actually working on this some time ago. We've had 3 different projects that we've gone, and it's going to finish up in the spring with an outdoor pergola classroom. And this is going to be a project that's supported by both our club as well as our foundation. Since July, excuse me, we've completed 3 hands-on projects there. And we've had really a great relationship with the school. Jody's done a fabulous job there building that relationship. And now it's basically focused on outdoor learning. There are pathways, classrooms that are outside, gardens with garden boxes, and we've put a fence around all of those garden boxes to keep out predators and such. And it's really made an enormous difference for Gamble School. Just to give you an idea what Gamble Montessori is about, 100% of the kids are free and reduced breakfast and lunch. As you might know, in Cincinnati, it's a huge food desert. It's really tough for some of these kids to get good food. The classroom will serve about 450 students from preschool through the 6th grade. Growth at the school is expected to reach 550 to 600 by 26-27. The school also serves 69 students who have disabilities. Current breakout of the student makeup is 66% African American, 22% Caucasian, 3% Hispanic, and 9% multiracial. The open-air structure that we're going to build will have a roof that can be opened or closed manually and available year-round. Also, as the kids are getting on and off the buses, it will provide protection for them. Our implementation committee is now in the process of securing grants and donations. The project is scheduled to be completed in late May. So stay tuned for more information about that as the springtime comes up. If you have any questions about the project or Gamble Montessori, please contact either Jody DeVoyd or me. Again, I'm Bill Stilley, and I'm on the board of directors, and I oversee hands-on. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Bill and President Melinda, and good afternoon, Club 17. I have the pleasure and the privilege of introducing our speaker for today. And when you think about it, it wasn't that long ago that she was preparing us for the cold weather that we're experiencing today and all this week. Sherry Hughes was the meteorologist and journalist at WCPO for 10 years and had a storied television career that spanned more than 25 years with stops in places like Tampa, Phoenix, Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina, and Charleston, South Carolina, which is not far from the quaint town she grew up in, Oakley, South Carolina. She graduated from the University of South Carolina School of Journalism, received her broadcast meteorology degree from Mississippi State, and was loved, absolutely loved by her viewers, who were quite touched by her personal battle with breast cancer and really appreciated her advocacy, using her platform to advocate for everyone affected by cancer along her journey. And that journey led her to her new role today as Director of Strategic Community Engagement for Cincinnati Cancer Advisors. She's also a patient ambassador for a national breast cancer medication company. So we are just thrilled to have Sherry Hughes with us today, sharing how she has evolved through her journey. And I might also add, and not only is she a great communicator and community volunteer and advocate, for me personally, she's a wonderful, wonderful friend. So please welcome Sherry Hughes.
Wow, Cheryl, thank you so much. I was so thrilled when I walked in today and President Melinda told me that my friend Cheryl Parker was going to be introducing me. So thank you for having me, and thank you, President Melinda, as well as your executive director, Sarah Patterson, who is not here today under the weather, and we certainly hope she is doing better, feeling better today. Also, I'd like to thank Miss Christy, who has been assisting me behind the scenes with getting my presentation ready for today. And thank you, Rotarians, for having me here to speak a little bit about me. I think I'm going to, I don't know how this is going to work, but I think I'm going to give the photographer, the videographer, a workout. Are we going to be going back and forth to the screen? Okay, well, before we go there, let me start by saying, when I started thinking about what I wanted to say to you here today, I thought about a book that I had read a few years ago, an autobiography that has sold over 14 million copies worldwide, with more than 8 million sold here in the US and Canada. It's a book with a simple title, Becoming Michelle Obama, written by former First Lady of the United States, Michelle Obama. Now, I'm no Michelle Obama, but what I have in common with her is that I too have a story to tell. In fact, we all have a story. Now, would our stories sell millions of copies? I don't know, but in order for you to find out, you've got to tell it, at least start to share it. So today, I'm going to share with you my title. It is simply called Evolving Sherry Hughes, a vastly condensed version of how I have evolved over the many decades of my life into the person that I am today. Now, according to Merriam-Webster, the verb evolve means to change or develop slowly, often into a better, more complex, or more advanced state. It's a biological process, and life itself is a process. So, who is Sherry Hughes, you may ask? That's a good question. I promised I was going to work the videographer out a good bit. Let's go back just a minute to talk about my early life and education, and once again, who Who is Sherry Hughes? That's little me. When I look at this picture, I think of my mom and said, why couldn't you have done a little bit more to my hair? But anyway, I am a native South Carolinian. I grew up in the suburbs of historic, beautiful Charleston in a quaint community, as Cheryl said, called Oakley, just outside a small town called Moncks Corner. I am the second oldest of 4 children, 2 girls and 2 boys, born to Lily and Hampton Robinson, who were amazing parents. I had a wonderful, wonderful childhood, full of love and full of laughter. My parents worked hard and owned our own home. We attended church every Sunday and some days in between. That's the way most Southern Baptists would, live life. We spent a lot of time in church. My parents would say if we didn't go to church, we couldn't go anywhere else. So no movies, no roller skating, none of that. So we went to everything they had at church. We took occasional family vacations, mainly to family in New York and Michigan, road trips, I call them, along I-95. After all, why was there a need to go to other places? We lived in one of the most beautiful places along the Atlantic Ocean. The beach was our constant vacation. That was where we loved to be. Education was very important to my parents. Now, while they were not college educated, they took advantage of vocational and training programs, all to do better in life. The hard work, though, and the low wages made them push us kids even harder in school. They were determined that we would be college educated and have a better life than they had. We were all bright kids, and actually, we enjoyed school. Imagine that. 3 of us graduated from college with our youngest brother choosing to serve in the military. Go Navy. We were civil-minded and socially conscious as a family. We talked a lot. We talked about race. We talked about poverty. We talked about politics, religion, education, civil rights. We even talked about sex. That was a rather brief conversation. It began and ended with no. We were also a very humorous family. We loved to laugh. In our home, democracy was reserved for America the Beautiful, as we lived under a dictatorship. The dictator was simply called Mom. I quickly found that out at age 7 as I was misbehaving. So my mother told me not to say another word, go to your room, punishment. I went, but I returned a few minutes later, citing my constitutional rights to speak. Well, needless to say, that didn't go over very well. My sassiness resulted in corporal punishment and the biblical teachings from Proverbs 13:24, which speaks about sparing the rod and spoiling the child. So that corporal punishment was upheld. Even back then, I was evolving. Slide 4, please. The career journey. My career journey. I am a graduate of the University of South Carolina School of Journalism and Mississippi State University Broadcast Meteorology program, which largely was a distance learning curriculum that took many years to complete. While at USC, I had also worked towards a minor in atmospheric science, which in part spurred my interest in the weather and forecasting. That and my love for the outdoors and being a kid growing up in the low country of South Carolina. It made it easy to fall in love with the soft blue Carolina skies. moist air from the Atlantic Ocean, warm sea breezes, and even the excitement of the roaring thunderstorms that came, and tropical storms. I gravitated towards it all and became the weather aficionado in our family. My interest in journalism was spurred by my paternal grandfather, Jesse, who loved watching the 6 o'clock news and reading the daily paper. And as a very small child, I would often sit next to him on the front porch. And I wanted to read, of course, I wasn't quite there yet, so I pretended while watching and looking at the pictures in the paper. My grandfather loved the evening news on television. Then it was Walter Cronkite. The entire house had to be silent while Granddad watched. And that had a very profound effect on me. It made me want to tell important stories too. Yet again, I was evolving. My professional career in television actually started while I was still a student at the University of South Carolina. I had 2 internships, one at South Carolina Educational Television Network, the other at a local NBC affiliate where I was a news and production assistant. The experiences gave me a leg up, as I was only one of a handful of J-School graduates that had a full-time job in my field upon graduating. My goal at that time was to become a television news correspondent. I had developed keen writing, reporting, interviewing, and speaking skills, and I really enjoyed hearing other people's stories. However, television recruiters and agents, they were more fascinated with my ability to forecast the weather. I had put together a brief clip of a forecast at the end of my television newsreel, and it got a lot of attention. I was told that I was a natural and that I had the it factor, whatever that is. I was also, though, a young black female meteorologist at a time when there were very few nationwide. I started getting job offers for the weather, forecasting, and positions in big markets and cities all over the country. And before I knew it, I was packing my bags, leaving Charleston and heading to Phoenix, Arizona to forecast the weather for a big Fox O&O, owned and operated television station in Market 12. Keep in mind, I was coming from Market 117, 18, or something like that. The television market in Phoenix covered nearly the entire state, which, as you know, has deserts and mountains. So before you ask, what is there to do in Phoenix with the weather? Yeah, that dry heat. Well, it covered the entire state. So we talked about snow, too, up in Flagstaff, talked about the Sonoran Desert and the monsoons. By all accounts, I had made a remarkable jump, over 100 market sizes to get to Phoenix. I was yet evolving, leaving my comfort zone and adjusting to a whole new way of life more than 2,100 miles away. Now, major life changes and career adjustments would continue to test my resolve for many years to come. Those changes would also propel me to a deeper level of personal growth and help me build life-sustaining character that would help me navigate professionally as well. I evolved through lots of trials and errors, always choosing to learn from the mistakes and not repeat them. My television career would later bring me back to the East Coast and closer to home. But home would never be the same. By then, I had lost my mother to breast cancer. That happened after graduating from USC, and I lost my baby brother, who was killed in a car accident while I was living in Cincinnati. And my beloved father, Hampton, passed in 2020, just months after I had finished chemotherapy. He would never know that I had even had breast cancer. My siblings and I didn't tell him because he had early stage dementia and he was struggling with that. We knew he would worry about me, so we never told him. Thankfully, before he passed, I had a complete pathological remission from the chemotherapy, so I no longer had cancer. As difficult as those losses were and are, I've learned to live and celebrate life more. I've learned not to sweat the small stuff and to be very true to myself. I discovered strength that I never knew I had. I chose to evolve and not to become regressive, but progressive. It was and still is a conscious decision for me to be a light in the darkness and not throw away my life's precious energy on self-doubt or fear. I learned to build relationships, personal and professional, that would support my life goals, and I learned to give more than I had received, to be prepared in all that I do, and to adjust to life's changes. I moved to Cincinnati in September of 2011 from Tampa, Florida. I had gotten married the year before to Myron Hughes, who was a former UC basketball standout turned businessman. Myron and I met in Tampa and began dating just prior to me moving here to Cincinnati. He moved here in 2008 to take a position as executive director of UC's Alumni Center. We commuted, imagine that, commuted for almost 2 years before I joined him here in Cincinnati and took a new job, a new role at WCPO as the weekend meteorologist and multimedia journalist. I became ingrained in the Cincinnati community and quickly amassed a following on air and in social media. To my surprise, I didn't think I was that interesting, but someone else did. So 8 years later, when cancer came knocking on my door, I must say this community showed up and showed out with overwhelming support that has literally changed my life. It made a tremendous impact and difference in my life. It showed me the power of humanity, and it inspired me to do more for humanity. It inspired me to evolve. July 2019, take a look at the slide. I was diagnosed with invasive ductal carcinoma. That's breast cancer. It was by the grace of God that the cancer was even found at all. I had no symptoms. I had no lump. I had no pain. I had no signs. I had nothing that would indicate that I was living with a silent killer. But what I did have was an evolving tenacity and spirit. I had a great relationship with my OBGYN, Dr. Amy Thompson at UC Health. And she and I talked. You know, all that talking I did when I was a kid, yeah, it carried over to adulthood and helped me to continue to build a relationship that helped to save my life. We talked through the years about my high-risk status with my mom having passed from breast cancer. We talked about all kinds of different tests. I asked for all of them. So she lobbied for me to get a special one that I had not heard of called the breast MRI because of the family history and dense breast tissue. The screening saved my life. It detected breast cancer when 2 trips to 3D mammography never saw it. Having lost my mom to breast cancer all those years ago, I was determined to stay on top of my health. And that meant advocating for myself. So what does it mean to advocate? It means to ask questions and to be informed. It means to get educated on the subject matter and to be present in your own life. I was evolving. While the diagnosis wasn't an easy one to get, it wasn't an easy journey either to travel. It still isn't. I decided that I wanted to share what I know with others so that the next woman or man going through this cancer will have a better understanding of the disease. And perhaps that will take some of the anxiety out of what they're experiencing so that they can focus on their wellness and focus on surviving. In my journey, I had 6 rounds of aggressive chemotherapy. I had surgery, had radiation, had immunotherapy, and now I'm taking Neuralinks. It's an extended adjuvant medication that helps to reduce the chance of the cancer returning. I'm also a brand ambassador for Neuralinks. I'm in remission, and I'm grateful to God for this blessing. I'm so grateful. Where am I today? Well, a funny thing happened on the way to evolving. Funny thing happened. I became even stronger and wiser and more equipped to handle my life's circumstances. I leaned into my prognosis and discovered that I could be a source of empowerment and inspiration for others that have been diagnosed with cancer. My life has changed, and it's not scary. It's powerful, and it's meaningful. It has brought me face to face with my purpose. And that has brought me to a place where life's preparation met life's opportunity. I love that the Rotary's motto here is service above self. That's what I'm talking about, service above self. Though my life has changed, I am embracing all the changes. In November 2021, I decided to not just forecast the weather, but to finally take time to enjoy the weather. So I pivoted. I shifted my focus from television to advocating full-time for others diagnosed with cancer. So that's where I am today. I am the Director of Strategic Community Engagement for Cincinnati Cancer Advisors. Who are we? We're an independent group that exists to improve the care of cancer patients seeking an objective second opinion. CCA provides no-cost second opinion oncology, consult, and referral. Our mission is to lessen the misery and mortality that often accompanies a cancer diagnosis by improving the patient's treatment plan. At CCA, we have a motto. We believe that great care begins with a great plan. Evolving is growth. Yes, it is. Life is a process filled with opportunities to be more than we dare to imagine, to be better than our circumstances, and to rise above the challenges that threaten our ability to live out our best lives. Who said that? I did. That's my quote as I continue to evolve. I want to thank you all for letting me tell just a little bit of my story. As I said, there's so much more to it. There's so many ebbs and flows, cracks and crevices, so much that I can't tell it all in 20, 30 minutes, but I wanted to give you a little snippet, just a little glimpse about who I am. I'm a God-fearing person. I believe in humanity. I believe in helping others. So that's why I'm here today, to share some of my story in hopes that it will help some of you out there. We have a common goal in the Rotary in helping children with disabilities and helping the world and helping to eradicate polio. There's so much good we can do in the world. It all starts with one individual. I am but one, but I am trying to live out my purpose. I am many things, yes. I'll always do the weather. I can do it every single day of the week. I could walk outside and forecast. But now it's my time to walk outside, to enjoy the weather, and to help others live and enjoy it as well.
Thank you very much, Sherry. Let's give Sherry a round of applause for that presentation. That was very good, Sherry. Thank you so very much for sharing your life with us, talking with us about doubt and fear, and not letting life's circumstances hold us back from what we were destined to be. We have a few questions. The first question I have, let's see. This is from President nominee Doug Bolton. What do you miss about not doing the weather on TV?
Oh, that's a good one. What do I miss? I miss my coworkers, who are still my friends. I miss delivering the forecasts to the greater Cincinnati area here, the tri-state. I miss being that person that would give the information for how they are to navigate each and every day. I miss that connection. But I still have some of it, a good bit of it, as I have many followers on social media, many that keep me quite busy. So that keeps me connected as well to the community.
Thank you, Sherry. The next comment is from President-elect Steve King. Thank you, Sherry, for sharing your light with us and with our community. Very thankful to learn about your evolution and the breast MRI technology. What is your forecast for television meteorology?
What is my forecast?
Yes.
For television meteorology. My forecast is that television meteorology is still evolving as well. That science that teaches us about the atmosphere, teaches us about the ebbs and flows also of life. Because the atmosphere is fluid, so is life, always evolving. The forecast is that we will do more in our lives to make the world a better place.
Thank you. And a follow-up question is, what is your favorite season and why?
What is my favorite season? I'm a summer girl. I love all of the seasons, but I love summer. I love being able to shed a lot of the clothes that we have during the winter. I love being able to do outside sports. I'm a very big outside enthusiast. I love sports. I love playing sports. I love walking and running and swimming and hiking. And I feel like I can do all those things. I love swimming, better, of course, when the weather is warmer. So I think summer is my favorite season.
Thank you. And the next question is from our Executive Director of Magnified Giving, from Kelly Collison. Thank you, Sherry, for being such an inspiration. What do you think children need to know about living their best lives as they embrace it while young?
I think that children need to know that they can accomplish anything that they put their minds to. I think that they need to know that there is a responsibility that comes with growing, and that if they put their whole selves into learning and education and into community, that they will surprise themselves as to how far they can go, that they will surprise themselves that not even the sky is the limit.
Thank you very much. Another question. What is your opinion of the healthcare community in its battle over overcoming the breast cancer battle?
What is my opinion? I believe in science. After all, I'm a meteorologist as well. I believe that the healthcare community has made great strides in the advancement of treatments to help those that are diagnosed with any kind of cancer. Right now at CCA, we have something called liquid biopsy that is an advancement in technology. I believe that the medical community, through trials and through all of the technology that's out there, that they're making the strides, that we are doing so much better than we were 10, 15, 20 years ago. In fact, I could qualify that with my own family situation. My mother passed from breast cancer. Had she lived, she'd been around today, I don't believe that she would have succumbed to cancer, because some of the testing that is available today, like the test that I had, the breast MRI and photosynthesis, the reading mammography, just the education and what doctors now know is making vast improvements. I do believe that there will be more cures just around the corner.
Thank you. And I was going to say the last question, but I think we have another one. This is from Dr. Hux Miller. A few years ago, climate scientists were upset a little bit with meteorologists and changing in the Earth's atmosphere and climbing related to global warming. Is this still a problem with meteorology?
Meteorology is not an exact science. It's still evolving. And I think right now, with all that's going on with the climate, there are differing opinions as to what we are to do about it. But I think it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that the Earth is changing, and that what we experienced hundreds of years ago, while it may be cyclical, I think that there are advancements in the way that we live that has contributed to the way that our atmosphere is responding. And I think it's responsible for all citizens and anyone that lives on planet Earth to try to protect planet Earth. So I think that scientists still have a huge hurdle that's, to help those that want to fight the progress of trying to eliminate the change in the climate, to help bring them aboard, because we can see through studies and history and through what's happening in our Earth's atmosphere now. More storms, more violent storms, more flooding, more earthquakes, more snowstorms. These things are not because the Earth has stood still and nothing is affecting it. So I do think that scientists still have a lot of work to do. A lot of it is political. I don't feel like it should be, but such is the world that we live in. But we have to do more.
Thank you. The next, we have two more questions, and that's it. What is your perception about holistic or self-care practices? This is by board member Tony Autry.
I believe that holistic practices and what else was the?
Self-care.
And self-care. I believe that has a huge place in the care of patients. I do believe that self-care has been something that I've been practicing most of my adult life. Self-care is simply when you're caring, doing all that you can do to care for yourself and to make sure that you're living a balanced life, that you're incorporating good eating and nutrition, that you're getting exercises. And as far as holistic is concerned, that has a place in medicine and how we heal our bodies as well. You have to look back to science and medicine to know that one of my grandmothers, my maternal grandmother, they called her a root doctor when I was growing up, because she went out into the backwoods and found herbs, plants, and things that had healing power. She brought them back in and she made medicine. And we did pretty good. Also, recently, I had another form of holistic medication called acupuncture for neuropathy that wouldn't seem to respond to anything, drugs, medication, but neuropathy, being that it affected my hands, my legs, my feet from the chemotherapy and all the other treatments I had, it was acupuncture, Chinese medicine, that literally took away all of the stress from the neuropathy, and now I can barely feel it.
Thank you. And the last question is there a recommended age for females to start beginning to get breast screenings? And this is from our office manager, Christy Shushek.
The recommended age, from what I believe, still stands around 40 to 40 years old. However, I say to all women, no matter what age you are, to start to become aware of your breast health, and if you have a family history, a mother or grandmother, or if it's running through your family, don't wait until 40. Make sure that if you have questions about it, if you have a lump or if you are experiencing any pain, that you get that checked out no matter what age you are. There are right now more women, younger, that are in their 20s and 30s that are being diagnosed with breast cancer than at any other time before in history. And for black women, triple negative breast cancer is something that most of you may not have even heard of, but it takes the lives of more African American and brown women than any other form of cancer. And women have been diagnosed at 20 and 30 and 40 years old with no family history. My mom did not have a family history. We had never heard of anyone that we really knew that had breast cancer. Even then, though, a lot of people didn't talk about it, but there was no family history. I benefited from my own family history, which took my mother's life. So I say, yeah, the age is 40, but be vigilant and be very self-observant, and to know more about your bodies and your own breast health.
Thank you very much, Sherry. Let's give Sherry another round of applause. That was a great presentation. Thank you so much for sharing your life with us, your story, your career, about being an advocate for yourself. And in honor of your presentation to the Rotary Club of Cincinnati today, Sherry, we'd like to present you a pin, a Rotary pin. And we will also give a donation to Rotary International for the efforts to eradicate polio. We will give that in your honor based on behalf of your presentation with us today. Our theme this year is Serve to Change Lives, and you certainly do that, and you've done that with your life. Been a great speaker for us today. And I'm sure if we were here together, you would have 2 or 3 people to ask you to please join us again, visit us again soon, or become a part. You have a very close friend, Cheryl Parker, who's a member of our club. I'm sure she'd be glad to help welcome you in. But thank you very much for your presentation today. Next week, again, our meeting will be, we will have the opportunity to have in-person meetings. And if you're interested in coming, Christy Shushek, our office manager, will send the notices out again on Sunday. Make sure you RSVP. Also, you're reminded to invite others to attend either in person or online on Zoom. And we look forward to Marcus Marjoram next week as our speaker. He is the Deputy Director and Chief Business Officer for the Contemporary Arts Center. So thank you so much for joining us again today, Rotarians, guests, and friends. Please stay safe, healthy, and well. Meeting adjourned.